In the India of the 19th century, the winds of reform were stirred, not by armies or kings, but by a new class of thinkers, the emerging middle class and the educated intelligentsia. Some came from traditional learning, others from the fresh influence of Western education. Together, they formed the social base for a great transformation. These men and women looked westward for inspiration. They studied the story of Europe's rise from medieval darkness to modern progress, the Renaissance, the Reformation, the Enlightenment, and the democratic revolutions. Yet, their own roots were different. They were not captains of industry or merchants of trade, for these domains were now controlled by British managing firms and their Marwari intermediaries. Instead, they came from government, service, law, education, journalism, medicine, often linked by family ties to land ownership. Despite these differences, their movements shared a common intellectual thread, a belief in rationalism, universalism, and humanism. They judged all social customs and religious beliefs through the lens of reason. Raja Ramohan Roy declared that truth must be demonstrable and that the universe was governed by causality. Akshay Kumar Dutt insisted that all natural and social phenomena could be explained by purely mechanical processes. This rational spirit allowed reformers to question ancient traditions and evaluate them on the basis of social utility. In the Brahmo Samaj, this meant rejecting the infallibility of the Vedas. In the Aligarh Movement, it meant reconciling Islamic teachings with the needs of the modern age. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan even declared that religious tenets were not unchangeable. Swami Vivekananda argued that religion, like science, must stand the test of investigation and reason. Some reformers still appealed to ancient authority to gain support, but reason, not blind faith, became the touchstone for change. This rationalism was coupled with a universalist view of religion. Raja Ramohan Roy saw all faiths as expressions of one universal theism. Syed Ahmad Khan believed all prophets preached the same eternal faith, and Keshab Chandra Sen went so far as to declare that all established religions were true. This universalism sought to rise above religious divisions. But as the 19th century wore on, colonial influence and political realities often pushed it back into narrower religious identities. Equally powerful was the humanist spirit that infused these movements. Reformers believed humanity could and should progress, and that moral values must serve human welfare. They challenged priestly control over religion and defended the right of every individual to interpret sacred texts through reason. Salvation was no longer the sole focus. Attention turned to the quality of life here and now. Because religion shaped so much of social life, reformers knew they could not change society without engaging with religious ideas. As a result, their movements touched every aspect of culture, from language, art, and literature to dress, food, and medicine. They rebuilt traditional knowledge systems, promoted vernacular languages, created alternative schools, defended and reinterpreted religious thought, revived Indian art, and explored pre-colonial science and technology. Broadly, these movements fell into two streams. Reformist movements like the Brahmo Samaj and Aligarh Movement sought to purify religion using reason, often discarding outdated customs. Revivalist movements like the Arya Samaj and Deoband sought renewal by returning to what they saw as the original purity of faith. All depended, in some way, on the past, but differed in how much they relied on tradition versus reason. Together, these social and ideological currents formed the foundation of India's reform era, an era that reshaped thought, redefined tradition, and laid the groundwork for the modern nation.